Hey everybody, Joe here once again to demonstrate one of the featured services that I offer at Joyful Noise Productions, also on Fiverr, which is to make backing tracks. Now, to make one thing clear, is that when it comes to the backing tracks, one thing is that when it comes in regards to the copyright laws, as long as you're not selling the music, as long as you're not making any profit from it, as far as like getting airplay with it and things like that, it's still okay to use it. As far as what I understand about those copyright laws, but if you want, you could be able to research it and find out how it applies as far as regarding backing tracks are concerned, because as you go to karaoke's and stuff like that, that is commonly used. Now, I do get several clients for this kind of work, because sometimes maybe they can't find the music that they're looking for, or maybe in some cases that I see that some people they'll go even real deeper than that, and they're going to try to pull up an obscure song that they may want me to make a backing vocal out of. So if you're not sure of any of the of the copyright laws, one thing I would advise you is just to look into it before you actually want to inquire about this kind of a service. I'd be more than glad to do this service, not a problem. I have certain programs that make this happen. Now, once again, as you probably see, I'm using my Acid program here. Now, one thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add this, let me go here to the, I'm going to put this right over here, just to kind of, no, I don't need to beat map it, but I'm just going to show you how it would sound how I make tracks. Now, there are some songs that have a backing vocal, and sometimes the backing vocals in the program that I'm using, sometimes, depending on the song, if I can be able to get the backing vocals to work, as far as being able to single them out, it can happen. But sometimes some of the voices overlap, so it's kind of hard for me to pull the voices apart, because it really doesn't do that on the program that I have. But if I'm able to, I can be able to make it happen. If not, then basically what I'll try to tell some people is try to recommend maybe them putting the vocals in themselves, or maybe I can add a little more to it. But as you probably see right here, I have this song right here done by a group. This particular person who wanted me to make a backing track of this, well, I like this song, but I remember when I was playing in my band Called and Chosen with my friend Pastor David, who was in the first video that I did. Me and him did this song, but we did it in a different key, but almost the same exact way, but a little different in our own way. But this song is one of my favorite songs I really love. So so the artist who, or the person who's singing, actually he's a singing evangelist like my friend Pastor David. He wanted me to break up the tracks for him. So let's go ahead and go right into the song.
When the Spirit of the Lord is upon my heart, I will dance like David danced. I will dance, I will dance, I will dance like David danced. I will dance, I will dance, I will dance like David danced. Si el Espíritu de Dios está en mi corazón, yo danzo como David. Si el Espíritu de Dios está en mi corazón, yo danzo como David. Oh, yo danzo, yo danzo, yo danzo como David. Oh, yo danzo, yo danzo, yo danzo como David.
I'm just going to stop it right there. Now, as you see right here, this is the whole complete track in itself. But if I take this track off, and notice I put this track on, as you probably see all right here, I was able to get the parts where you can be able to hear the backup vocals. Now, sometimes that's very important when you need to have the song in its full, entire essence, especially when you're singing it. Sometimes these things kind of give more intensity to the song, but also gives you a reference of where you're at. So, as you probably hear, like in this part right here, you'll hear like there's a doubling of the voices, but it's because in reality it's a backup voice that's coming out to kind of add something to the lead vocals.
Yo danzo como David.
So as you're going to see right here,
Yo
again,
danzo como David.
now right here, who's going to sing along with the verses right here?
Yo danzo como David. Oh, yo danzo, yo danzo, yo danzo.
Now, as you probably noticed, that some of the parts have been cut off. And the reason why I have certain phrases like that, again, because that's where some of these backup vocals will drop. And because these backup vocals will drop, you know, it allows the main voice to stand out, just like you would if you were in this track right here. So if you went right here.
Yo danzo como David, si el Espíritu de Dios está en mi corazón. Yo danzo como David. Oh.
So when it comes to coming out of the vocals, you have to, with this, one thing I like about Acid is I could be a little more precise as far as being able to knock out some bit of the parts of where the main vocal stands out. Sometimes it's not really possible. I remember I did one for my friend David, who also started kind of getting into this kind of singing of the music and stuff like that. He would want for me to want to try and make sure you get all the vocals in there as much as possible, as much as humanly possible. And sometimes, you know, I get lucky, sometimes I don't. But when it comes to building these tracks, this is what has to be done. I have, you know, where I have to kind of go in there and surgically remove a lot of these things, and that's not even counting what I have to do as far as to balance everything out and things like that. Now, one thing I like about this kind of recording, the way I got this recording, when I was able to break apart the parts, what happens is that some bit of the song loses its quality. I mean, you can still hear it, still sounds nice and killer and things like that. However, when you start breaking vocals, start breaking instrument parts apart, you know, like the drums, you know, the other instruments and the vocals and the bass, you're actually removing the sonic spectrum that would make it sound really good. So it would still sound good, but it still kind of sound a little flat. Now, if you get an old audio recording, obviously there's going to be a little more problems to it. Now, what I normally do is I normally would build MIDI parts. If I could find the song online, you know, where I'd be able to find a MIDI part to it, all I do is just put my VTS effects to it and just make it happen. But I really haven't done any kind of research and stuff like that for this song yet, because this sound was kind of, you know, it was kind of just there, and so I decided to use that song as I pulled it apart. Now, again, as you can hear, the song does have some bit of some, still has some of its flair in the way it sounds, but.
Yo danzo como David. Yo danzo como David. Danzo, yo danzo como David. Oh, yo danzo, yo danzo, yo danzo.
You know, so there's still a lot of the parts that are still in there. Now, I've been doing this for quite a while now. Again, this is one of the videos where I mentioned where I do a little more instrumentation. I kind of break things up a little bit. I mean, I really didn't have to do any kind of fixing, like put some compressors in it, or maybe in some cases where I would have probably went as far as probably put samples in there. But if I start putting like drum samples and, you know, try to fix the bass and stuff like that, Obviously, that's where we go into a little bit more money. But but as far as breaking the vocals apart, this is what I do. And again, like I said, when it comes to a certain song, if there's a certain song you like and you want to you want to make a karaoke song out of it, I can do it. That's not a problem. But remember, I can do this for you, but it's just you have to understand that there are copyright laws. Don't try to say, "Oh, this is my my song" and stuff like that. I mean, there's another way you can kind of go about it. Say, you know what? Hey, I like this song, but I want to kind of change the lyrics up a little bit. For example, I was watching on YouTube a Christian artist by the name of Becca Shea. She did a Camila Cabello song. She kind of changed the words around a little bit. You know, even though it's the same exact song, but the words are a bit different. And then she also did another one also as well. My band did a song that was very well known, but there was a remix version of it, and I was able to get the stems of the remix versions, and yet we even remixed it even more by putting our own guitar, bass, drums, and our own in my own vocal style into it, and yet we hadn't got flagged on YouTube. That is what you would call a remix. And remixes, you can kind of get away with it a little bit because it's not the same structure of the song. It somewhat sort of becomes your own. So when it comes to stuff like this is where you want to be very careful. But again, you want to really look into it. But if you, again, my best advice would be if you want to change the wording on a song or stuff like that, kind of make it sound like your own, or maybe if you sing it in Spanish, probably, maybe in another language, in most cases, you can be able to get away with it. But again, this is a service I do offer, and just to show you how I do things and how I can make them happen. And again, probably if anything, at best, I do use a thing known as a limiter. And one thing I like about my limiter is that it helps me to be able to maintain the volume. It'll still come out nice and strong, but yet it won't sound like it's squashed or being limited. Even though this is a limiter, but it doesn't make it sound all distorted or make it sound all funky and stuff like that. So when it comes to doing stuff like that, I don't use too much effects on it because the songs have already been pre-mastered and they have that sound to them where it's already polished and there's not much needed. All right, folks. So that's the end of this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Now remember, I do offer this service on Fiverr. I also offer this service through my Facebook page and also through my website, which is at joyfulnoiseproductions.wordpress.com. Also, you can find me on Facebook at Joyful Noise Prod. Prod. And when it comes to the noise, it's spelled Noize. So if you really are interested in doing something like this, or even any mixing and things like that, hit me up. I'll be more than glad to take care of you. Thank you.